The objective of this lesson is to solve word problems with measurement conversions. In the previous lesson, students practiced solving word problems that included measurement conversions. In this lesson, we will continue to practice this process. Remember, when we convert from one unit to another, we are not changing the size of the measurement, only the units we use to refer to the measurement. Here is our word problem. A recipe for chicken noodle soup calls for 1½ pints of chicken broth. A recipe for butternut squash soup calls for 1 pint of chicken broth. A restaurant plans to make 18 batches of the chicken noodle soup and 14 batches of the butternut squash soup this week. How many gallons of chicken broth should the restaurant order? The recipes in this problem measure the amount of chicken broth in pints, but the restaurant will be ordering the broth in gallons. 1 gallon is equivalent to 8 pints. Two different recipes are mentioned. The steps we have identified for solving this problem are 1. Calculate the number of pints of broth for chicken noodle soup. 2. Calculate the number of pints of broth for butternut squash soup. 3. Figure out the total number of pints for both soups combined. 4. Convert the pints into gallons. And 5. Provide our answer in gallons. First, we will use multiplication to determine the number of pints needed for all the batches of chicken noodle soup. 1½ pints multiplied by 18 batches equals 27 pints. Next, we will calculate the number of pints of broth for the butternut squash soup. 1 pint multiplied by 14 batches equals 14 pints. Our third step to solve this word problem is to calculate the total pints of broth needed for both soups. 27 pints plus 14 pints is 41 pints. The restaurant will need 41 pints of broth. The word problem asks how many gallons the restaurant will need to order, so we need to convert 41 pints into gallons. Looking back at our conversion for pints and gallons, we see 1 gallon is equal to 8 pints. Since we will be converting from a smaller unit of measure into a larger unit, we will use division. 41 pints divided by 8 pints in each gallon is 5 gallons with 1 pint as a remainder. Because the restaurant manager will be ordering in whole gallons, our answer needs to be in whole gallons. In this word problem, it is not reasonable to round our answer to the nearest gallon. Doing so would cause the restaurant to be short 1 pint of broth. The restaurant will need that remaining pint of broth to make all the batches of both soups. So we will need to increase our answer from 5 gallons to 6 gallons to ensure the restaurant orders enough broth for all the batches of soup they plan to make. Our answer is 6 gallons. The objective of this lesson was to solve word problems with measurement conversions. We met this objective by identifying the units being used and their conversions. We also created a step-by-step plan to solve the word problem.